Hi, everybody. Tammy here. And I wanted to talk today about a tool that we use every day, but I want to see if we can increase functionality for you just a little bit. So let's talk about Gmail, and we're going to explore the settings for Gmail and see if we can make it work a little bit more efficiently and effectively for you. All right, so I'm here in Gmail, and I'm going to go up to the gear, and this is where we're going to do a little exploring. There's so many different categories in the settings and tools, and we're just going to see if we can make it work better. All right, so click on the gear. Now, these are just some of your more generic settings that you might want to just do a quick change, but we want to see all the settings. So we're going to go ahead and click on that, and we're going to see all of these different categories for our settings. And we're going to dig into each one of these categories, some not so much, but we're going to start here with the general. So with the general settings, I would just encourage you to look through all of them just to make sure everything is good, especially on this page. But I just want to touch on just a few. So let's start with the undo send. So when you send an email and you were like, oops, I meant to do this, or I didn't mean to send that. You have some time when you click the send button to recall that. And so you can change that time right here. I believe the default is 10, but you can change it anywhere in here. Let's talk about let's see, we've got default reply. You may want to just make sure that is checked. I think that's the default, but reply all is very rarely the appropriate response. So let's just make sure we hit reply and let that be our default instead of reply all being our default. Let's go down here to default text style. So I've had to change this. I noticed that when I send an email, I often don't like that really small print. I don't mind the sans serif. I don't mind that font, but I will change it to the large. That seems to be just a little bit better for my eyes anyway, and I'm sure it's better for everybody else. So you can actually change your font and the size, the color even, to be your default text style, so you don't have to change it every time you do an email. Let's talk about, let's see, images. Always display. This is when somebody sends you an email and it contains images. Does it always display it, or does it ask you first before displaying it? So you can set that right here. The dynamic email, this is if somebody sends you an email and it has a form or a survey or a Google Calendar or something that's in that email. It allows you to work in that email instead of clicking off or out of that email to get something done. So you can click that. Grammar, spelling, that's all good. Um, Smart Compose, you know what? I've noticed that it's pretty intuitive. It's pretty good. If you want to have these Smart Compose settings on for you, and it just kind of predicts what you're going to say, it helps often. It like I said, it's pretty intuitive and pretty spot on. So I like having that on. It just makes it a little bit faster. Let's talk about conversation view. So when you are going back and forth with someone by email, the conversation view, when it is on, it's going to keep that entire conversation in one line, and then you'll see the number of emails to the side that's involved in that conversation. So I like having that on. And let's see what else we want to keyboard shortcuts. We will talk about that in just a second. Um, Preview pane, I would say it says mark a conversation as read. So that's that preview pane that usually you have on the left. Um, and I want to when I click on something and it shows up on the right, I want it to mark as read immediately. You can change that here, but sometimes I don't want to delete something, but I want to come back to it later, but it's not urgent or anything. I just want to mark it as read because I don't like having unread messages over there. Button labels, this just takes those labels the icons that you see up at the top of your email that talks about labels and moving and archiving and all of that, it makes it icons instead of text. So if you prefer the text to the icons, then you can change that here. Your picture that's changed in your Google profile, and it will allow you to go there if you need to. Signature. This is really important. I use Google Drawings to create this. This is an image right here, but then I have some extra things down here at the bottom of the image that I wanted to add. That's just some text, my website, my Twitter account, my YouTube channel, and you can set all that here. You can also create a new signature and you can create multiples. Usually one is fine, but here's your defaults. You may want to make sure that you've got that set the way you want. For new emails, when I start composing an email, it's going to put my signature in there. Or you can put no signature, it's completely blank. Or when you're replying to an email, do you want your signature to be automatically included? And then this one, I kind of just recently changed. Usually, if you're replying to somebody, it's going to put the quoted email right below your message, and then below that is going to be your signature. But checking this box right here is going to insert your signature before that quoted text. And then there's always that little line right there. It's going to take that away as well. Um, you can just look through, here's your vacation responder, and make sure when you make any changes here, you're going to save these changes down here at the bottom. All right, let's move on to labels. This is really important. This is where you would manage your labels. You can show or hide all the labels that come up over here. So whenever you see a little tab like that, those are labels. And you can create new labels here, or you can create new labels on the fly. So when you have your emails and you want to organize them and put them in the different label folders, then you can click on that email and then assign it a label or create a new label to assign it to. So you can do that here when you're managing all of your labels, but it's a great idea to organize your emails. All right, let's go to inbox. And here I have the default set, but you can change that the way the emails appear in your inbox. I don't have these other categories, but when you hover over them, it's going to show you the example of what that looks like for those different categories. The reading pane, this is important to make sure you have exactly what you want. You want to enable the reading pane. And right now I have to the right of the inbox. So you see on the left, you'll have your emails. When you click on it, the reading pane is going to show up on the right. That's how I have it set up. But you can play around with um, those different settings there. And again, make sure you save your changes. Accounts, there's probably not anything you need to change in here. I don't want to discuss any of that. Filters, you can create new filters if you want to filter for certain words or from certain people. You're able to do that here. Probably nothing is needed here in forwarding or your pop. Add-ons, I currently don't have any add-ons, but this might be something for note-taking or like docu-signing or something like that. But I want to move over here to Chat and Meet. So Chat and Meet has been added to Gmail, and you're able to see it on your Gmail page. I have both Hangouts for chat and the Meet. I usually don't launch a Meet from Gmail, but I do have it over here. So I do have my Meet and my Hangout chat right over here. And if you go to Advanced, you are able to have the right side chat. So I have my right side chat enabled, and that's why you see it over here on my right instead of below my labels and my category folders over on the left. So that's where you can change that. And then there's a few other things here. Your templates, this is cool. If you are sending the same kind of email quite often and you want to create a template, then you need to enable this first. And then, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to enable, I'm going to save the changes. So when I start composing an email, it's going to relaunch because this is important. So when I compose an email, it's got my signature here, which we'll mention in just a second. So here is a template. And I am able, let me move myself a little bit over here. The three dots down here, templates will show up. So if you don't have templates enabled, this is not going to show up. So I can save this draft as a template, and I want to save it as a new template, and I will just call it right now. This is just a title for this particular message, and I'm going to save it. So when I open up another email, and I come down here, I go down to the three dots, I go to templates, and there's my template that I just created, and it's just going to automatically pop it in. But please also notice that it's got my signature twice. So when you create a template, you probably don't want to have your signature included in that template. So I'm going to get rid of that template. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to delete a template. I'm going to delete the generic template that I just created, and then start over and take my signature out. So just wanted to point that out as well. Okay, so we are back here in the settings and we are in the advanced category. The other thing I wanted to point out besides the right side chat is the custom keyboard shortcuts. Probably nobody does this. It's the default is disabled, but if I enable that, it's going to reboot my email and it's going to give me a different category right here, which I'll show you in just a second. So I'm going to enable custom keyboard shortcuts. I'm going to save the changes. It's going to reboot my Gmail, and then I'm going to go back to settings. Okay, so I'm now back in the advanced category for the settings, and please notice that this keyboard shortcuts category has been added. So I'm going to run over there since I just enabled that, and then I am able to see all these keyboard shortcuts, or I can make my own. So you're able to click in here, compose. Right now it's a C. So if I am in Gmail and I click on a C, it's going to click the compose for me. So these are just shortcuts on the keyboard, and I can actually make my own custom keyboard shortcut. So that's totally up to you. I'm going to go back to the advanced and just point out one more thing, this unread message icon. The default is disabled, I believe, but if I have this enabled, then you can, it's kind of hard to see, but there is a little one right next to my my Gmail icon up there. So I can see that I have one unread email in my Gmail for that account. And it just helps me if I've got a lot of tabs, and I usually do. So I just kind of opened up a new window for this one. But I normally have like probably 30, 40 tabs open, and I'm able to quickly see how many unread emails or emails that have come in. So if you have that enabled, then, and make sure you save the changes, then you're able to see that little icon. It's kind of hard to see, but usually when you hover over that tab, you can see it, but this is just a little bit extra right there. All right, and then just a few more things here. Offline, if you enable offline, that means you're able to compose emails offline, and it's going to put it in a special outbox. And then when you get connected again, then it's going to send that. So that's for offline use of the Gmail. And then the last thing I want to mention is themes. You can set the theme, like you see this picture back here, beautiful, probably the Canadian Rockies or something, who knows. Anyway, you can set the theme here, and they have different pictures to choose from. This picture right here, it was one of mine. So you can put in your photos, and I believe it comes from Google Photos. So you would make sure you've got some pictures in Google Photos related to that account, and they will show up when you click on that. And you're able to do some little effects to it if you want to. But So that kind of gives you have some different just plain colors, different themes here, so you can save it there. So that gives you that nice background. So I hope this helps. There's a lot of cool things going on with the functionality of Gmail in these settings. So explore on your own. Let me know if you have any questions and have a great day.